April Fool's Day is quite a big deal to you Americans, and I completely understand. From adorable to almost damaging or small to elaborate, pranks and hoaxes are a thing to expect. And if someone knows how to pull a good juicy prank, that will be the Fox sisters. They used a brand new doctrine to prank her mother into thinking they were communicating with the ghost in their own house. The gossip spread fast, taking over the country and opening the door to a new way of life. The sisters had effectively fooled America, and the USA will love every minute of it. Hi, what's up? I'm Clay, and you are in The Truth Oracle, a channel dedicated to the life of circus performers, psychic frauds, multiple hoaxes, and some wacky beliefs. Today, we are chatting about the Fox sisters and the beginnings of spiritualism in the USA. In the Houdini video, we briefly touched on spiritualism, believing we can have contact with the dead in the comfort of our own homes. The gist was people who will self-declare as sensitive will invite people to their homes and hold reunions where, through knocks, the spirit will answer questions or express their attendance. This movement was disturbingly popular, mainly because if someone dared to practice this back in the 17th century, they will fall into witchcraft land, death. Christianity and Puritanism were strict movements people needed to follow. But then came the 1800s. Those times saw growth because of new job influx and new ideas. Science had more answers than before, and religion was questioned a little bit more. And something interesting is that spiritualism gained the scientific communities back thanks to the invention of photography. Because of the process, sometimes it will look as if there were spirits captured in photos, gathering so-called evidence of an apparition. But spiritualism in America will not see popularity until 3 teenage sisters appeared in the story. Picture a New York night in 1848. On a small house in Hydesville, Kate and Margaretta Fox, 11 and 14 respectively, ran out of their homes towards a neighbor in complete terror. According to the sisters, every night when they were about to go to bed, they will hear something knocking on the walls, and it will seem as if the sounds were trying to convey a message. The neighbor was puzzled, but they wanted to see the evidence for themselves, so they all went back to the house and went inside the small bedroom the sisters were sleeping. The girls hopped in their bed, and the mother, Margaret, explained the neighbor and manifested the so-called ghost. Whatever number of knocks she asked, the ghost will replicate. The neighbor was convinced by the evidence and the look of sheer horror Margaret had on her face. The girls looked frightened too, but it was probably because they never thought their prank would work. They were making an April Fool's joke thinking their mother would get it. She didn't. The sisters' parents didn't want to live in the house anymore, so they had to find a place to stay quickly. They sent the sisters with their oldest, Leah, in Rochester. The rumor spread, and Leah's religious neighbors, Amy and Isaac Post, thought that spirit belonged to a huckster that found his last moments in the cellar of the Fox family home. The Post gathered people to go back to the Fox's house in search for answers, and they found some evidence: hair strands and fragments of what could only be human bones. The Post were still in disbelief, so they asked the girls if they could help them communicate with the spirit. The sisters accepted, and just like the first neighbor, they were convinced after they heard their questions being answered by knocks on the wall. By now, Kate and Maggie had told their sister Leah how they pranked their mom, but seeing how everyone was almost completely convinced, she joined the fun. Leah helped her sisters with the charade, proclaimed herself as a medium, and told the Post she could help them communicate with their deceased daughter. Big claims, because now it was disturbingly personal. The couple accepted, but they still had reservations about it. They got a place, enough to gather 400 witnesses, and asked Leah to do her thing. After the theatrics ended, Amy asked the 3 sisters to please go with her and a group of skeptics to examine them. The group wanted to see if they could find any evidence of it being fake, but they found nothing. And the people were happy to accept this because grief is a hard pill to swallow, and finding that you could communicate with your loved one again using a medium was a beautiful relief. After this, the sisters became instant celebrities and their lives took different paths. Let's start with the most balanced and successful. Leah flourished in New York and created the famous seance rooms, which were places where people would reunite to conjure the dead. Kate and Maggie traveled mainly in the northern part of the country, but their stories differ. Kate met and married a man who believed 100% in her powers of contacting the dead by multiple means, and spiritualism in general. After the Civil War happened, her business saw an increase in people seeking closure. But she had somewhat of a conscience because some of her clients expected to see their loved ones with their own eyes, but were sadly disappointed, making Kate feel some sort of remorse that turned into a drinking habit. And speaking about remorse, Maggie caught the eye of a skeptic who tried his best to figure out her hoax, but couldn't because he fell in love with her. Elisha Kent Kane asked her out and almost begged her to leave that life and go back to school. She loved him as well, so she accepted. Maggie gave up on her medium business, converted to Catholicism, and married Kane. She gladly changed her life for him. She was happy for just a while because a little after their wedding, Kane will pass away, pushing Maggie into alcohol. She was a ticking time bomb for the sisters' jobs, which will detonate on October 21st of 1888. The New York World newspaper paid Maggie $1,500 for her to expose the faulty beginnings of the movement. She went back to that March 31st night when their April Fool's joke was too good for their sakes. She explained that those knockings were made by an apple tied to a string, so they could manipulate how many thumbs the people will hear. And apparently, the two sisters also used to crack their joints to use the sound in their favor. The rest was filled by the unsuspected victim's imagination. Maggie physically proved all the statements she said to solidify the hoax of spiritualism. Some people believed her, but the movement was so strong that it created a division. But a year later, she changed her story. Maggie stated that it wasn't her. It was a spirit who possessed her to say all of those things. I don't know what was she thinking. Maybe she wanted her power back, but fortune tellers hated her guts, and they knew she was lying. And they were right. Maggie, under an alias, kept exposing spiritualism and other mediums' dirty tactics. So she was playing both sides. The sisters were not close anymore, and each of them died far away from each other. An innocent prank that awoke a movement that is still around, but will tear the sisters' relationship apart. Spiritualism by itself is not inherently wrong, but the Fox sisters are a clear example of how this doctrine can easily harvest money-hungry individuals, fooling people looking for closure. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and consider subscribing. And here's another one you might like. I will see you in the next one. Stay safe.